Hi, everybody, and welcome back to JenTalks. I will be talking today about how to create daily positive habits for a better life. And I'm going to start with a quote by James Clear from Atomic Habits, and he talks about intensity, consistency beats intensity. And that's always been my mantra regarding making changes in your life. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is that we tend to go 360 degrees, or we throw the book at challenges or change in life, and ultimately we fail because we take too much on. So I've always been one of these, improve at 1%, on a 1% gradient daily. So if you think about any change that you want to make in your life, regardless of what tool it is you're going to pick up, I'm going to suggest a few today. All you need really is to spend between 3 to 5 minutes every day to make those positive changes. And here's the key. Notice the way I emphasize the word every. It's every day, not just 2 days a week, 2 days a month, whatever it is that we end up with. And the idea, I'm going to talk about a few things today that will make it a little bit easier for you. Another concept, again, from James Clear. I'm sure I've heard Brian Penny talk about it too. I think called habit stacking, where we'll add something that you're already doing. You'll add a new habit to something that you're already doing. So let's start with the idea of a positive habit. So first of all, it's a habit that's going to increase your mental, physical, or emotional well-being. So for some people, that's going to the gym. For some people, that is prayer. For some people, it's meditation. You ultimately know, as I always say, you are the expert of you. So here's the challenge that I'd like to leave you with for this video is, what one thing can you do that will improve you either mentally, physically, or emotionally, or all of the above on a daily basis? Just pick one thing. You may be doing more than one thing. You could be doing, some meditation and some gym and some walking, that's okay. It's not that I only want you to do one thing. I want you to pick one new thing that you're going to do. Or if there's something that you're doing, but you're not doing it on a regular basis, I want you to pick one thing that you're going to do on a regular basis. So for me, my one thing is definitely breath work. You've heard me talking about breath work before. I'm a qualified breath coach, so that is definitely my go-to tool. And the reason for that is because it literally takes 2 minutes, which is less than the time it takes to make a cup of tea. So if we were to use that as an example, and I was to say, if you were to use, say, something simple, like your simple 4-4 breathing, in through the nose for 4, and out through the nose for 4, 10 times, that takes 2 minutes. So if we were to use that as an example, obviously that doesn't have to be your daily habit, but if you were to use that as an example, try and think of something that you do that would take around about the same amount of time or slightly longer than that. So for me, it's putting the kettle on. Every morning, the first thing I do after I've got out of bed is put the kettle on. So if I wanted to add that habit to me, to make it a daily habit that I also do, I might decide that when I press the button down on the kettle, instead of me kind of going, oh, watch kettle never boils and all that jazz, I might do my 10 breathing exercises, in for 4, out for 4, 10 times as I wait for the kettle to boil. And of course, it's a discipline because our busy mind wants us to be, well, while that's doing that, I might do this. And while that's doing that, I might do that. To just stand and be present in the moment and to do your breath work. So that's what we mean by stacking a habit on top of a habit that already exists. For me personally, I do my breath work before I actually get out of bed. So that's part of my check-in that I do on a daily basis. But if there was a day that I forgot it, the putting on the kettle is definitely the trigger that reminds me. Another thing that's great for creating positive habits are reminders. So it could be, the lovely little daffodils that are on sale at the moment. Maybe if you had one of them in your car or on your fridge or on your jacket, when you see that, that could be a reminder. Okay, that's a reminder for a daily habit I've started to introduce into my life. Because like us all, we're busy. The mind is distracted. We don't remember to do everything all of the time. At least I don't think we do. And The other thing, of course, is technology. We complain about technology, how much our phones take over our lives or our smartwatches or whatever it may be, but we're surrounded by technology to help us. We've got apps, we've got clocks, we've got calendars. So use the technology that's available to you if you're familiar with it to help remind you to engage in your new habit. But the key to it lasting and the key to sustaining a new habit is keeping it small bite-sized pieces. You can always increase it as you get more familiar with it, and keep it joyful. So the moment you catch yourself saying, oh, I have to go in here now and do my breath work, that's the moment that habit is dead in the water, because you've actually tried to push yourself too hard and it's become a have to energy rather than a want to energy. Now, if it's the case that it's something that you do actually really want to do, but you're noticing you're bringing the have to energy to it, another really helpful tool is to bring it through the have to want to lens. And what we mean by that is we ask ourselves, like, do we have to do this? Well, of course, we don't have to do anything except die in this world. So then we say, okay, well, if I didn't do it, what would be the consequences? And then we would say, well, what's the opposite of the consequence? Well, that's your pay value. That's what you actually get out of doing what it is that you're doing. And when we feed the pay value, we find the motivation and we convert a have to into a want to. So it goes from I have to do my breathing exercise to I really want to do my breath work because I'm going to have so much energy tonight. I'm going to relieve my stress. I'm going to feel clear headed. It's good for my skin. Whatever the benefits are that you see from your breath work, that's where the energy gets focused. And that drives the motivation to do your daily exercises, do your daily habits. And again, going back to that sustainability, to make it last and sustain your habits, to keep them, I suppose, lasting and the benefits outweighing the hard work that goes into it. The small bite-sized pieces, you could always find 2 minutes in a day. If I was to say to you, like, I want you to take up, yoga or meditation on your lunch break, and it took maybe half an hour or 40 minutes, that can sometimes be more difficult depending on your schedule. Or if I said to you, I need to do something that's going to be 2 minutes every day, you can start with 2 minutes, then you can move to 5 minutes. And then if you want, you can move to 10 minutes and so forth and build it up. It doesn't always have to be breath work. It could be something completely different. And here's the last point I'm going to leave you on, because I get this all the time. Everywhere I go, people say, oh, I'd love to do, tennis, but I haven't got the time. I'd love to do, I'd love to go to the gym before I go to work, but I haven't got the time. And all this kind of stuff that we convince ourselves of that we haven't got the time. So here's a great tip I picked up, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on here before, from Pierre DeVille. He was at one point working with Tony Robbins. And he has a great mantra: win your morning, win your day. But he gave me this idea and I took it on board and I've stuck with it ever since, was that if you need more time in your day, you can always claw back 15 minutes on the end of the day that's most suited to you. So in other words, if you're a morning person, claw your 15 minutes back in the morning. In other words, get up 15 minutes earlier. If you're a nighttime person, go to bed 15 minutes later. And do that for 2 weeks until that becomes a norm. And guess what? Then you add another 15 minutes and do that till that becomes the norm. And then another 15 minutes and another 15 minutes until at the end of the month, you get out of bed an hour earlier. Now, I remember doing that when my children were younger and wanting some time maybe to study or even just to meditate or to clear my head before all the madness kicks in. And it was the greatest gift I've ever given myself. Now, to this day, I still get up an hour earlier than I need to. And I'm so productive in that morning. I get washing done, I get work done, I get slides made for workshops because I'm at my best time. And if there's something else I want to add in, if I'm a little bit behind on my own work schedule, I'll get up even a little bit earlier again. So you can always find the time to do the things that you really want to do. But here's the question: if you're not getting around to them, how badly do you actually want to do them? Maybe it's a story you're telling yourself. You want to do it, but you haven't got around to doing it yet. Well, if you haven't got around to doing it in 20 years, how badly do you really want to do it? So find the time by clawing back the time. Stack your habits on top of the habits that already exist. Maybe it could be brushing your teeth, putting on the kettle, things you already do on a daily basis. And remember, keep those lovely positive changes as small bite-sized pieces, and you're much more likely to commit. And remember, the very first quote I started with, even though I got a little bit muddled at the start, is consistency beats intensity. So consistent habits daily define who we are. We are what we do, not what we think we're going to do. So I'm going to leave you on that note. I will see you back here again next week, and next month you will be hearing from me on my brand new podcast. I look forward to connecting with you all on that. And also, just to remind people, the Wellbeing Network is still on, even though we're really looking at coaching through the Wellbeing Network. It's still on and available for anybody that wants to join me. That's on tonight, actually, which is Tuesday, the 28th of March. It's in the Base Enterprise Centre from 7 to 9. There's also a new manifesting circle over in Clondalkin for anybody that's interested in the law of attraction and manifesting that. And that's on the last Wednesday of every month from 7 to 9 in the Sacred Space Centre. And if you're all over the world and you can't get to Dublin to see these wonderful workshops, connect with me online, send me a message, or drop me a PM or a DM or whatever social platform suits you. And I look forward to connecting with you all again soon. And as always, thanks for your time and your enthusiasm and interaction. Take care. Have a wonderful day. That's bye from me. And we're over.